All right, everybody, welcome back to Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. I love the name of that, Redefining Retirement. It is slow and stressful, right? You know, it isn't boring and keeping you awake, right? It's something, if you redefine it the right way with the right plan, then you definitely increase your chances of having a fun retirement. And that's what we're going to try to do here with every show we talk to you about. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, but here with Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken, Provost of Ricken Financial. You can get in touch with Jerry and Heidi and the whole team at rickenfinancial.com there in St. Louis. Hit them up on Facebook and Instagram, and also dial them up, 314-442-6476. Don't forget the YouTube channel, too. Honestly, it's more on you, if you can't find Ricken Financial, because they actually put effort to be out there, okay? So
we like to have some fun and share it.
For sure. And if you have any doubt about how much fun they like to have, you need to listen to our last episode of Kicking with the Rickens.
Oh,
It
yeah.
involved birthday, car crash, bee sting, tornado, great dinner, and the Pope. All right?
That's right. That's right.
You know, I don't know where the finance part was. That was okay. That just go back and listen. Sometimes you just got to have fun and have a good time. And you can find all of the episodes on rickenfinancial.com and on Apple and Spotify, iHeart, some of the other podcatchers. Subscribe and turn on notifications as well. Now, if you follow the Rickens on social media, everyone, you'll see that they've been up to something that's really important to them every single summer. So I'll let you all take it away because
Doug, you mentioned fun, and sun was out and fun was out this past week for Heidi and I, because we had the opportunity to volunteer at SIBS camp. So Heidi, why don't you take it from there?
Well, thank you. You know, for once, I got to be Dad's boss officially for a few days.
And boy, it was tough.
Hey, I lay down the law, man.
That's right.
So the two of us took some time off work because if you've ever tuned into us before, you probably have heard our story. And if you haven't, welcome to the show. We love, chatting with you, and we're glad you could be here. And in the year 1999, our family's lives were forever changed when my oldest sister, Mary Beth, was diagnosed with medulloblastoma, which is a very rare pediatric brain tumor. And she fought very hard, and she lost her battle in January of 2001 when she was a freshman in high school. And, back in the day, as a sibling of a kid with cancer, sometimes you get left on the back burner a little bit because we're literally in survival mode. We're doing everything we can for Mary Beth to fight. And everywhere you go, people want to know, how's your sister? How's your sister? How's your sister? And my sister Barbie, myself, and my baby brother Will, didn't necessarily feel as special in those moments. And we went to a camping program back in the day that took care of the kids with cancer and their siblings. And it was really cool to just go somewhere and feel like the center of attention and feel important for a few days. And fast forward many years later, my sister Barbie is a pediatric oncology nurse.
That's amazing.
She's actually the manager of her floor now. So she's worked her way up the ladder.
Congratulations, Barbie.
Oh, yeah.
These Ricken children. Just
I know,
bosses,
right?
okay?
Gotta light that world on fire. And Barbie was approached by an organization called Camp Rainbow, which serves families affected by childhood cancer in the St. Louis region. And they asked her if she would help start SIBS camp for the super important brothers and sisters of kids with cancer. So that was in 2018. And each summer since, Jerry and I have taken a week off work and gone to do all of the heavy lifting in the background at SIBS camp. So we fill all the water jugs, we run logistics, we get everything where it needs to be so that it feels like a very seamless and flawless execution for the kids, and they can just come and have some fun and simply be at summer camp for a week so that all of us can make them the center of our universe, and they just feel important and special. And most importantly, they get to leave all of the stresses and worries of being a sibling of a kid with cancer behind and just be a child for a week. Because some of these kids are the ones putting food on the table every single night, or literally giving the chemotherapy to some of their siblings when their parents are at work. And they have so many stressors on their plate that they deserve a childhood. And we're honored that we get to take some time off work to help provide that for them.
And it is truly an amazing special week. Every year that we do that, and we've been doing it for 8 years running. And believe it or not, Doug, Heidi and I are kind of stealth. We're kind of quiet. in logistics.
Is
At
that
least
right?
we try to be. We try to be in the background, but sometimes
For
we
one
actually
time-
do get
for-
recognized.
In real life, there is nothing stealth about us.
No, there isn't. There
Everyone
isn't.
hears us coming everywhere we go, especially if there's a laugh involved. You hear my dad's laugh 12 miles away.
And I love that laugh. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, life is short, laugh hard. You know,
But you're
it.
actually right.
You know,
We're in the
we try to be, you know, the people very quiet in the background, and it never turns out that way because we're just not quiet people, as you know. So,
And you know what? If we can,
I love it.
if we're in the middle of setting up, I don't know, say water games with a hose, and all of a sudden the wind picks up and the young cabin of boys and girls are walking past us from fishing, talking about how hot they are, Jerry might create a homemade mist machine that they can dance around in the parking lot in for a while. And
that just happens. That
it's
kind of
just
stuff
little
just
moments
happens.
like that.
So, and
you
it's
know,
fun.
you gotta make the magic happen where we're going. But at the end of the week, the teenagers have a graduation ceremony for the ones that are graduating from being campers to hopefully being volunteers in the future.
Yes,
Zoe, if you're
please.
listening, come back. We love you. We want to see you as a volunteer.
Come on, get in there.
Oh, yeah. And they went around and said what their favorite part of the week was. And I'm probably going to cry thinking about it because it was so amazing. But one of the girls said, you know, it's no fault to anyone else, but as siblings, we don't really feel like the center of anyone's universe. We don't really feel that special sometimes. And she said, we were at the dance earlier and everyone made this big circle. And every single kid at camp took a turn dancing in the middle of the circle. And this was organic. This was not planned. But they each took a turn dancing in the middle of the circle and getting cheered on by every human being at camp. And we had 77 campers, the most we've ever had, which is
Oh, wow.
unbelievable.
Praise God.
More than 20 more than we had last year. So shout out to the volunteers too. First time ever we were filled as volunteers
I
at
think that's
SIBS camp.
amazing.
Awesome.
In
Awesome
2018,
experience.
we had we didn't have the numbers we have now. Let's
Yeah,
just
we-
put it
we
that
had a
way.
very, very
There was a
thin
very
crowd then.
skeleton
Yeah,
crew, and we made some amazing things happen then. But the growth has been unbelievable. But she said, how powerful is it that every single one of us got the attention on us and were made to feel special for that moment? And that's why we do what we do. You know, it's not an easy task when your family is faced with this. And yes, the person who is fighting themselves has a huge battle ahead of them, but the entire family is affected in multiple ways. And to be able to take away the pain for a few moments, that's what it's all about.
That's priceless. It makes me think of, so in theory, these children, just as you were, Heidi, could be loved on at any time, right? And probably
Oh, yeah.
all of us, you know, that there's the vast majority of people that never deal with this. They will certainly someone's taking care of her. Certainly someone's taking care of him. And while you want it to happen organically, you talking about the circle and people dancing around the person in the middle and them taking turns, made me think of this. It could happen organically, but it's just like how we have churches and a ritual of going to church or cathedral or mass, whichever your persuasion is, every Sunday. Yeah, you could do that at home, but there generally needs to be a place and some sort of structure for that. And here you are doing this now. Y'all have done it, I think you said 8 years. Does SIBS happen like all over the place, or is this specific to that one camp?
This is specific to our one camp. So we serve the children in our community. So you have to be at one of the 3 pediatric hospitals in St. Louis being served by them. But we're also the only program from Camp Rainbow right now that serves the bereaved families. So every other organization, when your sibling passes away, your service from that organization passes with them and you're alone on an island. And we hug you tighter and hold you tighter and make sure that you know that you're a part of our family forever at this camp. So it's really important.
God bless you all. Amen to that. Folks, just Google Camp Rainbow and SIBS Camp, and if you want something to dig into, something to volunteer with, somewhere to focus your time, you could
Somewhere to focus your money.
Somewhere to focus your
We can
money.
always use that.
We're always
somewhere
here
to
to help
focus that.
fund and fundraise for them.
That's right.
And
That's
fundraise.
right.
I love that. I love that. But be sure to look those up and get involved there. And I'm sure you could send a message through the Rick and Financial Facebook page or get in touch with the office. I'll throw the number out, 314-442-6476. And they could tell you whatever you want to hear about these camps there. I just think that's incredible.
And more.
And thank you for honestly not only donating your time, but also your time on this marketing tool to go and make sure that is made aware of. And one of the things, and look, retirement is so much about it. It almost feels counterintuitive to the charity bone because it's like store away for yourself to fund the last 2 or 3 decades of your life, blah, blah, blah. But there are things that you could do in retirement that actually are charitable besides just going out and volunteering and actually structuring your day since you don't have a job anymore. But there are even things, money vehicles, if you will, that you could do that are beneficial.
Absolutely. And, we find that most of the clients that we work with are like-minded human beings because we have to know and like each other and trust each other to work well together. And usually that means that we share a lot of the same values, morals, and ethics and lifestyles. And so many of our clients are incredibly charitable and they give of their time and their resources. And, when it comes to your resources, there are plenty of opportunities available for you if you're in retirement, nearing retirement, or nowhere near retirement for how you can really maximize those funds for your financial future. But the one where you get the most bang for your buck when it comes to taxes would be if you're of that required minimum distribution age where you've saved in your traditional IRAs all of your working years. And if you're born from 1960 or thereafter, you're age 75. Or before that, you're age
73.
And at that point in time, the government's going to force you to take some money out of those traditional IRAs because they want to accept the tax, the income from your tax. So at that point in time, you got to take some money out anyway. So what do you do?
Well, what you do is you give it through a qualified charitable distribution. And a qualified charitable distribution is simply a new name for the RMD, the required minimum distribution. It satisfies the required minimum distribution, but the money can go directly to the church or charity or 501c3 entity of your choice. When you do that, you no longer are taxed on that money.
So you satisfy the need to take your required minimum distribution,
which would otherwise be taxable income
at ordinary income tax rates, but you don't have to pay any taxation on the money that goes to charity. So as Jerry mentioned, yes, you can direct those funds directly to the charity of your choice because every single person listening to this probably has a different cause that they're very passionate about.
Yes.
And who knows what it may be? You may have 50 causes you're incredibly passionate about and you want to spread the wealth. Well, that would be a full-time job in retirement, sitting with whoever has the custodian of your account saying, let's get a check for $20 here, for $50 here, for $100 here, et cetera, et cetera. So here's another way you can take care of a QCD. QCD, Qualified Charitable Distribution. Your required minimum distribution, RMD, we're going to talk in
It's too bad we don't have an acronyms in this industry.
No.
So that
Not
RMD,
even in SIBS. No.
If it hits your bank account before the money comes out of your bank account to go to that church or charity of your choice, as long as they're a legitimate 501c3 in the tax code, that also can satisfy your QCD when it comes to tax time. So when you go to prepare your income tax return, if you're taking a required minimum distribution, and after you receive that required minimum distribution, you're distributing some of those funds to your 501c3, you can take advantage of not having to pay tax on the amount that you give away to charity. And you can be more in control then too, because I don't know about you, but I don't really like the idea of the government being in control of how much money I'm going to give to charity or how much money I have to take or how much tax I have to pay. I want to be in control of all of that.
Amen to that.
And if you are so inclined to take some of that required minimum distribution money and allocate it through a QCD, we can show you exactly how to do that. Just reach out to us, because the most important thing is to have knowledge, and knowledge is power. and you want to have power over your money. You don't want the IRS to have power over your money or the taxation thereof. So we can show you exactly how to do it, exactly how to structure things. And if you don't have a 501c3, we have a great idea for you. We can do it to Camp Rainbow.
Absolutely.
There you go. Hey, by the way, I looked it up. I didn't know if there was a separate SIBS site or how it worked, but camprainbow.com. So I was saying send messages and do all that. Look, if you're listening right now, of course, we want you to go to ricketfinancial.com, fill the contact form, ask any questions you want, or dial up the office and talk to Jerry and Heidi about the camp. You can learn more immediately. camprainbow.com, the big red donate button. Donate to change a child's life, whether it's a child with cancer or one of the siblings or family members that's dealing with it too. Camprainbow.com. And satisfy that QCD. There's people that just sit on barges of money, okay? And it's like, my gosh.
Real.
And a lot of our clients to say, we don't need it. We don't want it. We don't need it, but we have to take it. And why take it and have it taxable when you can have it non-taxable?
Well, and see, the other thing,
and
at
make
that
a great
point
cost.
in time, when you're in your mid-70s, we hope that you're not itemizing when you go to file your income tax return, because that means you probably owe quite a bit on your home still, because you'd have to have so many deductions to be able to itemize now in today's dollars. So if you're not itemizing, you're not getting a tax benefit of giving money to charity. And if you take that RMD, that required minimum distribution, and you have to pay tax on it, the money doesn't go as far. But if you're giving money to charity, you don't have to pay income tax on that required minimum distribution. That gross amount before tax is what you can put towards charity.
So the charity benefits, you benefit, and the IRS does not. So
and you benefit, and you benefit. And did we mention that you benefit by reducing your taxation? You get to have more money in your pocket that you can pay forward too. So, there's a couple different layers in there. And yes, you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, but you also get a tax deduction or a tax break, if you will.
That's right.
For giving some money to charity when you otherwise would not, because you're probably not itemizing on your tax return.
No, these are great points here. And look, this could be still, there's so many rules, even what year you were born, all of that affects what time you take, when, and what have you. So you can tell
the time of year makes a difference too.
The time of year makes a difference. You got to do it by the end of the year, and I'm sure other things too.
And we want you to do it early in the year so that you give contributions after that. So you have to have a paper trail to show that you did it the right way.
Exactly.
That's what we're here for. Rely on us for our assistance, because no one should have to do anything alone. And when you're planning for your financial future, we want to make sure we're a partner in that. But when you're planning for your time in the future too as well, we want to be a partner in that as well. So one of the first questions we ask you when you come to meet with us is, what are you going to do with your time in retirement, and what's going to feed your soul? So we are so blessed that we are in our new office space and we have the physical space to be able to do so. But keep posted for some future volunteering opportunities to work alongside us with our resources and our time, so that we can, put our volunteer efforts to good work together, because we can accomplish a whole lot more together than we do alone.
Amen to that. Well, if you want to set up if maybe you just have questions about QCDs, or maybe your entire retirement plan, your portfolio, how to use that tool, your money, to work the right way and the furthest, the biggest bang for the buck, if you will, pun intended, 314-442-6476, 314-442-6476, or you can go to ricketfinancial.com and you can find Jerry Rickett and Heidi Rickett Provost on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole nine there, serving St. Louis and beyond. Thank you both for donating your time over this past week. I know that's tough to, when you're working for someone else's company and you have like 3 weeks of PTO a year, it's a little tougher. It's great that it's your own business, but it's still your time. And so I appreciate you doing that and then setting time aside to tell other people about it. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, it was our pleasure to do so. And just to see the smiles on the kids' faces is all worth it.
Absolutely. So worth it.
And by the way, when we are out there, we also have a laptop, so we're also in touch and we can reply to emails and all
You say that, however, Dittmer, Missouri doesn't have great Wi-Fi.
Not great Wi-Fi, but I got it.
Thank you, Jerry, for sharing your laptop with me, because mine decided it did not want to work out there.
Wait, this might be the first time in history that Jerry's laptop was the one that worked and not yours, Heidi.
I know.
Okay, come on.
Right?
I know. Major win.
I love it. All right. Well, you can find, like I said, social media and RickenFinancial.com and 314-442-6476 to get in touch with Jerry and Heidi and the team. And I want to do it again. Thank them. We also thank our producer, Brandon Benefield, for getting this put together, and all of you for listening. These episodes come out every Tuesday. Subscribe and turn on notifications here. This has been Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Jerry Rickens, a licensed insurance professional, and Heidi Ricken Provost is a retirement planner. And look, I got ahead of myself. We can't end without saying an important thing, especially on an episode where we talked about it so much. We got to remember that, Jerry, every day
is a holiday.
And Heidi, life is short.
Laugh hard.
You know we're going to do that. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you soon here on Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.